And thus do we have the last of the decals. Actually, there is one more I gotta do. The airlock controls here, there's two of those with the Palbo set. If you do something that I did that no one else I don't think has done yet, is to remove the interior airlock door and create that hallway. That hallway also has an airlock control just about set right there. So when I get that piece, which can go down anytime, and I may even recut myself a new one and put it in afterwards, I'll be saving the stock decals for one of those to go right there. I think that's the only place where there are any. So the three decals that went on here are the red, yellow, and green. I'll be doing that with lights anyway, but there is text on there too, and some designs on the green ones. Why they didn't go with a green decal instead of white like they did, I don't know. The airlocks I've already mentioned, and then this one needed the general alarm right there, which looks really great backlit. This will have 2 or 3 white LEDs going back there. One should probably be enough, but I want to make sure there's good coverage overall. The area is backed with a clear resin kind of material, and it's got microcrystal in there. The problem I had with that was that the application was a bit uneven going in there, so there's actually a really big dip right around this side of it, but the decal is held nice and flat so far, which has been really nice. So I'm going to let these set a while, and next up we're going to look at this floor. So I was just realizing I definitely want to get this on camera. This is the Tamiya handy drill, and it's about 30 bucks. It's a model kit from Tamiya. It's got just enough strength to really work well on plastic. You couldn't do that with a Dremel. And now, all these plastic bits fit. So this piece is ready for the brass replacement to go on. How am I going to do this? The only way I can say is very delicately, I hope. So this looks like it's going to be a really nice fit. Then of course there's also the Fedoratron elevator grill to put in there as well. Oh, hey, and look at that. One last thing I still got to do is paint downstairs there. I think rather than firing up the airbrush, I'm just going to paint that by hand. We'll do that now. And a few minutes later, here we are. Nice simple paint job. There is a brown divider going there. I figured it was 1706 all the way up, but it is brown. Sometimes in a few shows this is actually covered off completely and you can't even see the lines. So I don't know why they did it. Most often in those shows they were walking from behind the door here rather than climbing up the stairs. So somewhere behind the partition here there's a stairway going on, so the talent would have easy on and off. So yeah, next up let's put this ring on. I'm going to let this dry a few hours actually, and we'll get back to it. Okay, so here's a combination of two different tips I got from two people about the same time on this piece here. I had mentioned previously that the tabs in the floor kind of made it look cheesy for the connection, but in a lot of cases you really need them to hold the part into place. So the two suggestions I got were to, one, score a line down the edge of the connector there. That was from one guy, and then file it down from the other guy. So what I got here was the combination of two tips from, I think it was Dave at Hobby Talk and Elliot over at Fedoratron. The idea is score the tab just real slightly so you get a good indentation to follow. Take your file and scrape away from there. The difference is definitely distinct on this one. I didn't record it, so what we're going to do is file this one down because right now that looks really cheesy. So the trick I've done so far is to take the razor blade and just kind of rock it between the two corners where it needs to be, just to create an initial line. And very slowly and there's definitely not a good angle on this piece. And with a few minutes work, that is definitely a lot better. Looks like this corner here needs to get shaved down just a little. And it looks like I got some of that paint on the front side here, so let me deal with this. In order to get the command console here to fit back in, I got to shave some of this away. The other alternative is to cut the stand off of it. There is fiber optics going into that piece, but I really need it in place to be able to do those. But this will be one of the very last pieces that I work on. This, and then the cage, and then I think that's it. So that's good enough for that piece. So at this point, putting the brass down is ready to go. Alright, so here what we're dealing with is trying to get this centered right. That's definitely going to be a tough one. So what I've hit on the idea of doing is using this stand to place it in place, but it's still going to be a difficult situation. I'll have about 1 second maybe to make any corrections. One way I've thought to do this is to put down one dab on the far side, set that, and then do a couple others on the sides and press it down finally at the back. The other option is to put it all down at once. And getting this centered is definitely going to be a trick. So I think a small amount at a time. This is when glue nozzles come in handy. And I will need a lot more light on the situation. I'm really torn about where to put the glue because I want it on the outer ring so that holds down, but I don't want to get it into the very small holes in the brass either. So that's a pretty even smear right there. Alright, I'm going to go for the whole thing. Alright, we're going to let this sit for a long time. Alright, so pulling the clamps off, I see I got this inner circle just a little off. And what I'm trying to figure out now is how I'm going to get this frail thing down without getting glue on my fingers or on the rest of the brass here. I don't think it's going to be easy. I'll try just a little small area first, get that glued down, and then worry about the rest of it after. Maybe I'll just go and glue half of it. Actually, and removing the clamps, I see that all is good enough. Let's check the fit here and make sure things still are happy. So this is going to get installed first, followed by the walls after that. When I get to that point of the model, it looks like this goes right up against the wall. So what I'll be doing for the fiber optics, pulling up the disc there, I'll have to re-glue that. Doing the fiber optics for these guys, rather than running it into the floor down the back, it's just going to go through a hole that I'll put in this wall directly. I just got to figure out what the height is, so once that's in, we'll go for that. And since this wants a little more glue, let's oblige it. So unfortunately that last gluing picked up a little bit of clouding over here, but with the rails in place it's far less noticeable. And I think once everything goes together here, it's not going to be all that easy to see. So we're moving on. The 1706 down here looks really nice. Can't wait to see that lit up. I've got it covered in, I sometimes have it covered in tape to help protect it for a while.